Thanks for joining us again. Christmas episodes, Jared. Back to back. Starting with, would you call this horror?
Bordering
on horror. Tonight's episode, rare exports. You've been trumpeting this for fucking 5 years and I've been cutting you off at the knees every time.
Yeah, you've been cutting me off at the knees and making me watch other bullshit, so it's about time we watch this one.
Okay, so we're in for rare exports. We're also going to do another one next week. Obviously, Christmas episode, action related. And we, who knows, we might be able to see if we can't get something else in there. I had tossed up another horror movie that you never really commented on.
What was that?
Yeah, it was a fucking little gem starring Malcolm McDowell called Silent Night.
Yeah, no.
I believe I've got it on Blu-ray.
Yeah, you do.
You've now got it.
I did have it for a while. I may still have it.
You do?
Yeah, do I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm planning on putting it in someone's stocking that has been naughty this year, I think.
Yeah, I brought that up, but we'll see how that plays out. But tonight, obviously, rare exports. Jared, what have you been watching in the interim?
Watched a few bits and pieces. Watched the second part of the He-Man Revelations series on Netflix. Quite enjoyed it. Didn't enjoy it as much as the first one, but it's a quality bit of work. If you were a He-Man kid growing up, I think it's well worth checking out.
Yeah.
I watched the movies that made us another episode. I watched RoboCop.
How's that?
Yeah, look,
was Verhoeven on there?
It was pretty good. No, Verhoeven wasn't on there, but there was plenty of people talking about Verhoeven, and they were talking about how numerous people mentioning if you brought up a bit of an issue, he'd turn around and say that's not my problem. He was worried about the directing and nothing else in his mind at all.
Honestly, I fucking love that bloke.
Yeah,
he's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's the biggest thing for me was the stories about Peter Weller, because I've heard, Peter Weller, when you see him in interviews, he seems like a very kind of highbrow bloke who doesn't suffer fools and whatnot. Yeah. But I hadn't heard too much about him on RoboCop. Yeah. So it was good to kind of dive into that and get a few stories.
Did a few people fucking stitch him up?
He didn't come off well. He did not come off well.
No.
Basically, there was a section where they spoke about how he was trying to make RoboCop have kind of like ballet type movements and shit like that, and there was one story where it kind of pushed to the point where they said he wanted to rewrite the Prime Directives. He fucking carried on about rewriting the Prime Directives and turned them into this long-winded kind of bullshit, and someone eventually just said, look, Peter, this is a fucking robot who doesn't know he's a man. Like, we don't need this. We just need the simple kind of lines or whatever. And eventually, it got to the point where one of the producers told him to fucking tell his story walking, and called his agent and said, if this bloke doesn't fucking pull his head in, I will eat the budget to reshoot everything, because he's being a fuckwit, basically. And so they started shooting parts with a stuntman. And everyone was like, well, the stuntman complains a lot less than Peter and all this sort of stuff too. And some of that had an impact, and he came back and kind of stopped butting heads with Verhoeven and kind of did what he was asked. It's just a...
And obviously, Verhoeven would be a difficult man to work with.
He would be, and I can imagine if Peter was doing that, Verhoeven would be fucking blowing up and telling him to just do what he's asked and all that. Like, it would be a clash. And there's a place for people like Weller who have these kind of ideas and want to add their spin on it. But sometimes, if you have been hired to do a role, you just do it as asked. Especially when, as they said, you're a robot who doesn't know you're a man.
But also, your name's fucking Peter Weller, not fucking Al Pacino.
Correct. And
so you haven't got anywhere to go. You haven't got a pull.
He was coming off Buckaroo Banzai, which I believe didn't do well financially.
Peter, take anything you can get. Yeah. Now, you took the role based on what you read.
Yeah,
Did you not?
Exactly.
So are you not happy with what was given?
Yeah, this is the thing for me. I'm not saying that there's not a place and there's not a room for interpretation, but sometimes it's just, this is how it was written and this is what we're after. If you have a suggestion and we say no, don't be difficult. You've been hired to do a role.
Yeah.
So if you put a suggestion out there and the director says, no, that's not what we want, unfortunately,
that's not what we want.
That's right. If you're directing it and acting in it, go for your life. I
No,
mean,
but
fucking-
why not try the old thing of you do it exactly as it is on the page?
yeah.
Then, if you get
You do
another
it
couple of
different.
takes, you
Yeah.
take another go at it.
And then when we look at the dailies and see the shot of RoboCop looking like he's in the Nutcracker or something, we say, "We cut that one."
Yeah. Peter, fuck. No more of that shit.
Exactly. But yeah, just I don't know. It's just distasteful because it comes across as. I keep saying it. I just don't understand these people that need to be. I mean, Tom Hanks is one of the greatest actors we've ever seen. He's not a difficult person to work with.
I know. We've had this conversation before.
I mean,
nobody said fucking Hanks is a cunt. Like, no
exactly.
one, nobody.
And I think it's just it comes down to like you don't have to be difficult to be an artist.
Yeah. Keanu Reeves is another one.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever said, fuck Reeves, prick.
That's right. I believe, there's plenty of guys going around at this point that put the work in and don't get this reputation. So I just don't understand why it needs to be. There was also a makeup artist who was like,
Wasn't Rob Bottin, was it?
no, I think it was one of the assistants that was putting on some of the bits in the morning or whatever, and he said every day Peter would be fucking grumbling and telling this and that, and eventually one day I said, fuck off, Peter. And he goes, from that point on, he said, oh, I like you. That was it.
Yeah.
It just sounds like, so Peter seemed to just be tossing his weight around until somebody said, listen, just cut it out, you're being a dick.
But the thing, too, is it always seems like when you read about RoboCop, a lot of people kind of treated the material as kind of shit.
Yeah.
Even Verhoeven said,
Yep.
first time he read it, he thought it was a piece of crap and threw it out.
Yeah.
But yet the movie is fucking far deeper than that. Like, I don't understand why it had such a reputation, I think, from the get-go that it wasn't going to be anything good. I think the script obviously had all those ideas in it, and it would have been really interesting to read, I would have thought.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think the name of it scared a lot of people.
Yes, they bring that up. They do bring that up, how the name kind of, the producers kind of got it on their desk and said, what the fuck is this, But, yeah, it was good to check out because it was another one that I haven't seen a huge deal on. What else did I watch? Behind the Monsters. I finished.
Well, you had to.
Jason and Pinhead. I finished those episodes.
How was Jason?
Jason was all right.
Did we talk to some Jasons?
Yes, there's a few of them. I believe there's people like Ari Lehman. I think CJ Graham was in there. I can't remember. I think Kane Hodder's in there. I can't remember. I've been watching interviews with Kane Hodder after the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game was announced, so I can't remember whether that's kind of in my head as being in the episode. But yeah, it was okay. It's another one where I was more looking forward to the other episodes because we
know so much about Jason.
Yeah, and the Pinhead episode I really enjoyed.
Yeah,
thought it was really good actually. They talked to Doug Bradley and a little bit of Clive Barker, mainly from kind of archive footage.
Yeah,
I think. But it's really interesting again because we haven't seen this kind of treatment given to Pinhead as much. So it was another good one. It was like the Candyman for me, where I enjoyed.
Yeah, you needed. You're getting
one.
some information about it.
Getting something a bit different and some takes from people, which was quite enjoyable. And I watched Chucky. I watched the whole season.
Finished
of Chucky.
it? Yeah.
Finished it.
How was it?
Yeah, quite enjoyed it. I liked how they brought everything together. The sort of Curse of Chucky and Cult of Chucky.
Because there was some weird shit in the middle that I didn't understand.
Yeah, that was all to do with Curse of Chucky, more Cult of Chucky as well, which had started in there. I kind of appreciated that they brought all those legacy kind of characters in and brought Nika in from those two movies. And Fiona Dourif, fuck, she's pulling triple duty. She's playing,
She's playing Charles Lee Ray.
Playing Charles Lee Ray, playing Nika, and then playing Nika with Chucky inhabiting the body and shit like that. So she's certainly earning her cash. She did a pretty good job. Yeah, good fun. I quite liked it. It felt like some of the characters that were brought back didn't do as much.
Yeah.
But, I kind of got that was a bit of the fan service and sort of a bit of a treat for people that have been following the series for a long time. So I was kind of always expecting that.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, quite enjoyed it.
Yeah. And
then movies-wise, I got through a couple, actually.
Any shit in there?
Oh, always.
Plenty of?
Always.
Yeah.
So, I saw a little flick on Tubi called Blood Rage.
Oh, yeah.
It was a slasher.
It's a slasher, yeah. Is it any good?
It was okay.
Yeah.
Had a couple of reasonable sequences. A couple of interesting acting performances. Some very silly shit, as you would expect.
Yeah.
Mostly pretty good. The effects, although there wasn't a whole lot of effects, there was a couple of scenes that were fucking outrageously over the top of the effects area, which was quite amusing.
Yeah.
I watched Kid 90, which was the Amazon doco from the girl who played Punky Brewster.
Oh, really?
She basically took a video camera everywhere she went from when she was it was a bit like Val Kilmer.
And what was it like?
It was okay. It was all right. They kind of tried to wrap it up with this group of kids, like there's people like Brian Austin Green and Stephen Dorff and that are growing up in Hollywood.
Do they talk on it?
Yeah. They come and have a little chat about it. Look, it was reasonably interesting to see some of these people behind the scenes, I guess. The unsettling thing was the amount of them who've died. There was a lot of them who had died. I think there was about fucking...
Who she had...
She had, spent fair amounts of time with. There's people like Jonathan Brandis.
Yeah.
Stephen Dorff's brother, I believe.
Yeah.
Also died quite young. There's about fucking 10 of them on there that died quite young.
Fuck.
Which some of it's sort of tied to the industry that they're in and what they're getting into at that sort of age. Yeah, decent enough little watch.
Interesting.
I cracked open Apple Plus, Adam. Apple TV Plus. Watched a little doco called "Twas the Fight Before Christmas."
Fucking hell. I haven't watched that, but I heard it was alright.
It's good. It's a good doco. Man, the bloke in there is one of the most unreasonable... I think he's a lawyer. And what he does is just so completely fucking unreasonable. And he starts to wrap it up in this religious discrimination kind of bent. He's a fucking lunatic. He's a loose cannon. And so, yeah, it's quite interesting. Mainly, really, it's just about a bloke initially who loves Christmas and loves the Christmas lights and loves doing it up so much that he starts putting on essentially a fucking festival in his street. And then he moves to a new place that's got like an owner's... I can't remember what it's called, but it's like the owner's agreement. It's like a body corporate, what we call a body corporate, with all these rules. So basically, being a lawyer, he fucking just comes in and says, look, I'm going to buy this house, and I've read the rules, and there's nothing in here that says I can't do this, so I'm just letting you know that I'm doing it. And everyone basically says, we don't want this. We don't want it in our street, which is perfectly reasonable because he blocks off the street, people having to get bussed in and all this sort of stuff. And... he takes it as, in their response, they mention, there's people of multiple religions here, they may not enjoy it, whatever. He latches onto that and then starts basically going on with, you are discriminating against me because I'm Christian. It's like, oh, for fuck's sake. And the guy is just, he's an asshole.
Yeah.
He's one of the most unreasonable fucking characters I've seen in a long time. He's just off on his own planet, self-important.
Yeah.
But it's highly entertaining. There's a little bit of Joe Exotic about the bloke, but he's just a little more intelligent, not making music videos.
Fucking hell. I'd rather that.
I think so. I watched Encanto with the kids.
Yeah, how's that?
The Disney one. Not bad. No Time to Die, Adam.
I did say this, yeah.
You did speak about this.
I did say this.
Quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did.
think there's aspects of it that have been slightly overrated, somewhat. There was points of it that I felt dragged a bit.
Oh, yeah.
And
It's
really,
too long.
At the end of the day, bar one element of this, there's not really anything new about it.
No, absolutely not. But I felt it hit the marks of the Daniel Craig period very well. I think it ended fantastically.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the way it kind of ended because I knew that's where they'd been going the whole way.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spoil it, obviously, but, in the past, they never wrapped these up.
Yeah.
Roger Moore just fucking morphed into Timothy Dalton away.
That's right.
And I kind of feel like the Craig era had always had this in mind.
Yeah.
That's what it was going to be. It's going to be one whole story, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the fact that that's kind of where they wanted to go.
Yeah. My biggest issue is, look, I would probably place it, it's middle tier of Daniel Craig's. I reckon Skyfall is better.
Oh, yeah, Skyfall's the best.
Casino Royale is possibly better. Debatable. But the other Daniel Craig ones are definitely below.
Yes. I actually had it second, just ahead of Casino Royale.
Yeah.
And then, Spectre, then fucking Quantum of Solace. Which fucking no prick wants to watch.
Yeah, no one wants that. Yeah.
I love what they did with Felix Leiter and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
I love bringing Jeffrey Wright back for a little bit more, meat for him.
Some of that stuff was good. There was predictable elements as you would go with a Bond. The problem for me was there was a couple of characters that just drifted in and out that were good. Yeah, they were good, and I was like, I want more of that. Didn't get so much of it, but overall, good action sequence. A couple of really good action sequences.
Oh, the opening one in Italy or whatever with the fucking motorbike stuff and all that, that's fucking gold.
Yeah.
That stuff was awesome.
Yeah, some of that was really good. But yeah, definitely worth a view. Definitely.
Yeah. 2 hours and 30 minutes, so fuck. Daniel. Jesus.
Yeah, check. Go onto the website and just double check what the best time to take a piss break is.
Oh yeah,
that's what I needed to do.
I was desperate. I got out of there during I must admit though, Jared, you know when he goes to Jamaica, meets up with Leiter, and they're in the nightclub. I was just thinking, I would have been right at home on the piss with this bloke. Of course. I'd have been loving life up there.
Oh, I can see you in the back there, just kind of, doing the sprinkler on the dance floor or something like that.
Oi, JB, get out here.
Yeah, another round, mate.
Yeah, put it on the corporate card, you fucking prick.
Oh, shit. Yeah, and then I got onto The Last Days of Night, which was a ESPN 30 for 30 on Bobby Knight.
Oh, Bobby Knight.
I don't want to talk about it too much because obviously we're not a sports podcast.
Yeah.
Just briefly, it's just the classic case of because someone was really good at something, we forget the fact. Maybe this is a little bit of Peter Weller here too. We forget the fact that you're a massive arsehole. Yeah. And just overlook it and don't worry about it. It's just such a troublesome thing. And these people that get, it comes back to bite them, but then they still sit there and they're like, oh, fucking, I've done nothing wrong. Well, you have. You've been a prick. You've physically assaulted people. You've walked out into your locker room with your pants around your ankles and a fucking freshly wiped bit of toilet paper to describe to your team that you played like shit. I mean, that's inappropriate, mate. So to sit up there and fucking wish people were dead that were involved in the investigation and stuff. I mean, the guy's a scumbag. The comment he made about rape is one of the most fucking deplorable things I've ever heard in my life. And if it was today, he would have been sacked on that alone. So I can't stand guys like this that just get away with stuff because they are. And let's not beat around it. The guy is a legendary basketball coach.
But let's not beat around it. Let's beat around it a little bit further. You need legendary basketball players to win titles.
Yeah,
it's not just you, and he had some of the best.
Yeah, but he certainly did get some things out of some players, but that doesn't excuse. And I'm all for the modern day of, we want the best basketball coach, but you're also held to a fucking code of conduct and a standard here, because he was not for a long, long time.
He was a product of the 70s and the 80s.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, of course, but even then. He got it. He also had a bloke in charge who was kind of letting him get away with a bit of it. And as they pointed out that he basically ran the show at the university. I mean, he didn't have. There was a point where they brought up a rumor that he kicked the head of the university out of practice for talking too loud. And the guy denied it, but everyone was like, "No, I saw that. It did happen." And they were basically saying this is just an example of he had no one fucking coming down on him.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just pisses me off.
It's a sad part of fucking sport.
Yeah. And the people that rolled on him got called. Oh yeah, you just couldn't handle it and all sorts of shit. But then of course a video came out backing this guy up. But then when the video comes out, people are still saying, oh, but it didn't happen exactly how he said it. Well, he still fucking grabbed the guy by the throat in the middle of practice. So that shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It pisses me off a little bit. Then I got into my Christmas viewing, Adam.
Oh, here we go.
Home Sweet Home Alone.
Oh, brick of a film.
I mean, I didn't heed the warning. Yeah.
Did you, like me, wonder why they switched? I mean, essentially the kid was the villain.
Yeah, because...
And it was horrendous.
But he wasn't. This is the thing. It was like... It was two misunderstood points of view. And it's like... But so now when this couple who have been wronged are trying to right the wrong in
and they're getting absolutely pummeled by this kid.
I can't laugh at that.
No, and that's why the first one works.
Yeah.
Because the wet bandits are fucking criminals.
Yeah, that's right. And we can laugh at them getting a bit of comeuppance. I did laugh at the fart gag. I mean, the fact that he's still farting in the midst of apologising, highly amusing. He's there going, I'm sorry, and it's still going. Absolutely brilliant. Talking about nuance on a fart gag.
Yeah, they thought that through. Which is good. And my biggest problem was they composite a fucking prison rape joke at some point, and I was just like, this is a movie for kids. Sake.
Yeah, it was shitful.
Prick of a movie. I'll tell you what. What's the name of the actress who was in it?
Ellie Kemper.
Fuck, she's better than that.
Yeah,
come on.
Is. I mean, she's come off The Office.
Yeah.
Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, which I haven't watched, but
it was well regarded. What are you doing?
Yeah. Look,
you don't take that.
You go back to your agent.
Your agent
How
says,
did I end up in
no,
this?
your agent doesn't even bring this to you. Your agent says, no, thank you. This is a few tiers lower. This is where you're going.
Yeah.
Look for people in the Hallmark bracket.
Screams like I signed a 3-picture contract somewhere or something, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's what I reckon. Signed a 3-picture contract with Disney and they went, fucking, here you go. You have this.
Look,
my biggest problem with it is, and I think I brought this up last episode, it just showcases that one of the problems with streaming is this is the kind of shit you get.
Yeah,
Disney doesn't care. Disney has no interest in this. It's because it's going straight to Disney+.
But see, the issue for me is Disney have done better. Like, the stuff they've produced for Star Wars, they put in the work. The stuff they've produced for Marvel, they've put in the work.
Yeah, I know, but
I guess it's the tiers under that.
People will not cop shit from those two. Like, Star Wars and Marvel, the expectation is much higher.
Yeah, there's going to be money spent.
There's going to be money spent and actors of note.
Look, this screamed cheap.
And nasty.
Cheap. Fair for them.
Yeah.
And I can't blame them for that. I don't think...
You need product.
The money's going where it should. They have the rights to Home Alone. They say, we can knock this out. Cheap as chips. Ellie Kemper's got a contract with us.
Yeah. Oh, we've got a fart gag too that's very nuanced that we've been waiting to use.
Yeah. Wait till you see it. The bloke's apologising while he's still dropping his guts. He has to apologise a couple of times. It's brilliant. Oh, shit.
Holy shit.
Speaking of cheap Christmas fare, Adam,
yeah.
I don't know why I watched this, but I was fucking out here putting up a TV cabinet and I just grabbed the remote control and chucked on Stan, and the first thing on there was an Aussie rom-com called Christmas on the Farm. I thought, yeah, fuck, it's got a couple of actors that I've seen before, I'll chuck it on. I finished it while I was out here knocking the cabinets together. I couldn't speak much more about it.
No.
It's pretty average. A couple of giggles here and there, but not much.
Look, me and my wife do the Christmas movies every year.
Yeah.
Through December.
Yeah.
We just find any shit that's out there we haven't seen, because Netflix, Stan, all of them do a fresh batch
and
every year.
Hallmark films up
Hallmark
the fucking wazoo on Stan.
So we go, right, we're getting on there, we do all those. The problem with Christmas movies is you do need to accept what they are.
Yeah.
Because you know they won't be putting much in there that you would consider. You know, they don't put a lot of obstacles in people's way.
Yeah, look, this is
we did see
tier.
one.
This is middle tier, and I would say I have not watched many Hallmark films. I have come across them on the soup more than anything else, but I could probably guarantee this is better than Hallmark.
Possibly, yes.
But it's not a great film.
No. We watched one called Love Hard. And it was kind of, I was expecting it to be really, really bad.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really bad. It was actually all right. Because it was a little bit more bawdy than your usual one. And there was a joke, I must admit. She's at the bar and she overhears these two clowns further down the bar. And one of them goes, and so they said to me, would you like to have a good memory or a large penis? And the other bloke goes, and what'd you say? And he goes, I can't remember.
Right.
But
excellent stuff.
That's the sort of shit you're getting. It's always going to be a romantic angle, and there's always going to be, like, in a lot of these things, a kind of a hook
Yeah.
a hook that they'll hang it on.
Yeah.
So most of them are standard.
This is exactly that.
Yeah.
That she's found her mother's journals. She's written them up as a book. Her publisher says, no, this would be better if it was you.
Yeah.
And then the publishers say, we want to come and spend Christmas on the farm with you.
Yeah.
She's got to pretend to be her mum. So
yeah, the standard
that's
sort
the
of thing.
hook. Standard fare. I couldn't recommend.
You won't recommend.
I won't recommend it, especially given we are a horror and action movie podcast. I don't know why I'm talking about it.
Yeah.
But the other one was
round.
it's the Christmas season, I guess. The last one I watched, Adam, was in that wheelhouse. I finally got. Thankfully, it's on Shudder now, and I didn't have to try to watch it on YouTube. Christmas Evil.
Ah, yes. How was that?
It's actually pretty good.
Yeah?
It's very good. Like, it's not gory. It doesn't have a lot of kills or anything like that. But it's a fucking interesting little... some of the reviews I've looked at have described it as like Taxi Driver, kind of.
Yeah.
I felt like a little bit of a 1 hour photo vibe where you're spending a bit of time with this guy that's watching other people, and he's lost his mind, and he's essentially hits this point where he tries to become Santa Claus and starts doling out, the naughty and nice sort of shit. But I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was very good, actually.
Did you do it with Joe Bob?
I did do it with Joe Bob. I think he did it about 2 years ago. I think it was 2020 when he did Deadly Games and this. So yeah, it was quite interesting. The acting performances are actually really solid.
Oh, that's all right.
And it's an interesting little piece to watch. I mean, it's got common things with something like Silent Night, Deadly Night, but it's a very different movie.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably a better movie. That said, I will be watching Silent Night, Deadly Night again in the coming days.
You know what I wish I could find, which we could put on here for Christmas? Shit like To All a Good Night or fucking Don't Open Till Christmas.
Yeah.
That kind of schlocky fare that was back in the 80s. Oh, where is that stuff?
I'm digging them up.
Shut
I'm
up.
trying to dig them up.
Shut up. Start
to
fucking looking into this.
Yeah, I delved onto YouTube trying to find Silent Night, Deadly Night 3 and all sorts of shit. I couldn't find any of them, so I'm trying to, I'm looking through. There's a couple on Shudder that I will be watching, but I need a bit more of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, great. So that is everything for you?
That's everything.
Okay.
Too long.
I, of course, watched No Time to Die.
Yep.
For some fucking reason, I just sat down one day and started watching Snakes on a Plane.
Yeah.
Yeah, look.
Good viewing.
Looking back on it. Nah.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It's
a funny idea.
It's kind of fun in parts. And, Sammy Jackson, just effortlessly cool. It plays perfectly for him. But it's kind of crap.
Yeah.
It's crap.
It is.
There's an Australian bloke in it.
Yeah, Nathan
who
Phillips.
is fucking awful.
Yeah. I believe he farms marijuana these days.
Does he?
I think so.
Well, shit, he looked like he was smoking it. His performance was low key, I think I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, not a very good film. I watched the first episode of Only Murders in the Building on Disney Plus with Steve Martin Short, and Selena Gomez.
Yep.
Really good.
Yeah. Those two together should
generate some laughs. But it's actually got that kind of hook of true crime podcasts and stuff like that. And it looks like, kind of that murder mystery sort of mixed with a bit of comedy, which might work. And I've heard nothing but good things about it. And then the last one, Jared, you checked out, but I checked out Hard Target 2.
Oh, yes.
You know what? I gave it a 3.
Yeah.
It kind of knew where its wheelhouse was and did it pretty well.
Yep.
For the most part, some of the fight scenes aren't very well done near the end. They kind of fall over a little bit. They try and get a little bit too fancy on a small budget, and it doesn't really work.
Yep.
But, mate, Scotty Adkins has been fucking... He deserves better.
Yeah.
To me, Adkins is a guy who... He has the skills.
He's toiling.
His acting is above average, I would say.
Yeah.
And he looks like he does a lot of his own stunts.
Yeah.
So I don't, he fits. How Scott Adkins couldn't get better roles? I guess it's more about when he came about.
Yeah.
If he'd have come about in the late 80s, early 90s, he probably would have been a star.
Yeah, he probably would have been
for a little bit.
Pocket. I think he's popped up in some reasonable movies in like stunt kind of roles, or I think he was in something like Doctor Strange, wasn't he? As somebody that's in a fight.
Yeah, he might have
basically.
been. He was obviously in Expendables too.
Yeah. So yeah, look, he's plugging away in that directive DVD / streaming action field that's not as fruitful as it has been in certain times.
Yeah.
But guys like he's on
Him and Jai White
on the
are
level
in a
of a Jai
similar-
White.
Yeah, they're in
Yeah.
a similar sort of place.
they're guys that could do. You know, Jai White came around just at that time where he got a shot with something like Spawn, but didn't quite stay in that A-list. But you'd fucking have them in these kind of movies any day of the week.
Yeah.
He's-
I mean, I would take a Scott Adkins over a fucking Steven Seagal any day,
Yeah.
any time.
Absolutely. So yeah, I'm certainly. I could probably add him to the list of names of people that if I stumbled across one on Netflix and it said Scott Adkins, I'd say, righto, let's have a look.
And just quietly, I saw the trailer for the new season of Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
Did I see Thomas Ian Griffith back in the saddle as Crease's right-hand man?
Yeah.
And I think he was in part 3.
Yes, yeah.
I'm fucking loving this shit. I am loving this stuff.
Look at you.
They are delving back into the nostalgia, but
Yeah.
connecting it to what's happening
Yes.
in the perfect manner.
Yeah, I'm up for it.
And just like Gazza Daniels, don't sleep on Ian Griffith. I think he might kick your fucking ass.
Yeah, possibly.
So, I appreciate what those guys are doing.
Yeah, definitely.
With regards to Cobra Kai. It's just been really, really well done.
Yeah.
And I'm really keen for season 4 because it seems like it's coming towards the penultimate part, which is the fight at the Hill Valley sort of tournament or whatever it is.
Yeah. Coming back to
We're
another one.
finally getting back to it, you know.
Crease and Johnny and Daniel finally kind of on the same page.
Let me put it to you this way about Crease. I mean, I love Martin Cove, but fuck, he's not moving. He's not moving quickly.
Yeah.
Like, he's moving like a 70-year-old.
He's in the Dolph kind of realm where we're cutting away and cutting back for the end of the punch and things like that to speed things up a little.
His stunt double's 40.
Yeah, shave 30 years off.
Yeah. But that was it for me. All right, let's take a break. And here's the trailer to 2010's Rare Exports.
It's the most magical time of the year. When traditions are honored. And the youngest among us still believe in the spirit of the season.
We found something else than just plain rocks and dirt.
This mountain is like a giant icebox.
For storing what?
Drill deeper. Prepare the dynamite. You have a grave to rob.
Minkälaiset sudet tekee? Hyvää joulua.
Isä! Kötti on viety!
We have Santa Claus. Selitä sille, että meillä on täällä pukki myytävän.
He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good. And he doesn't give up. Rare Exports, A Christmas Tale.
Rare Exports from 2010. Written and directed by Jamari Hollander, who directed Big Game. It's produced by Agnes B, who produced Spring Breakers, Francois Xavier Franz, who produced Everything Will Be Fine, Petri Chokaranta, who produced Jade Warrior, and Newt Schoolgland, who produced Mad Ship. It stars Oni Tamilia as Patari Contio, Jorma Tamilia as Brano Contio, Tommy Capella as Almo, and Runo Juvenin as Pipple. Shit, I can barely. Pilpin. Fuck, I can't say it.
Piparin or
Yeah,
something
something like that.
Yeah.
I can't. The budget was 1.94 million euros, I believe, and the box office was about 4 million worldwide. Now, this came out of the trivia on Internet Movie Database, so I cannot
confirm
this in any way. But there is a piece of trivia that states that Kate Blanchett listed this as one of her favourite films.
There you go.
Maybe she did. Maybe she did.
Could be true.
I'm going to go first here. Really interesting Christmas film. Kind of borders on action horror.
Mm.
It's kind of not that horrifying in a sense of gore and violence and stuff, but there is some creepy shit about it.
Yeah.
But it kind of ends almost with an action-packed kind of end, or action-related end.
Yeah.
And I feel it's kind of directed in an action-y type of style. It balances some really cool ideas with some really good sequences. There's a couple of really, really good sequences. It's a touch slow, which is a surprising thing to say considering it only goes for about 80 minutes. But there is a bit of a slow burn element that I found a little bit too slow. But it's well shot, it's well acted, and the finale kind of delivers.
Mm.
The finale's where it hits pretty well. I gave it 3.5.
Yeah. I pushed up to a 4.
4?
Yeah, I think what you said is right. Like, it's no surprise the guy went on to direct Big Game, which is basically an action movie.
Yeah.
Because it does have more of that sort of feel to it in certain elements. And as you said, there's not many sort of sequences that you would call horror. It's more kind of feels like that gateway horror where there's some really creepy things that if you were a kid and you saw them would probably stick with you for a little while.
Yeah.
Things like the way that the Santa that they first encounter
looks
kind
at
of stares.
kid at when he sees him, he kind of
Yeah, just has that kind of stare that doesn't go away. He's constantly just staring at him. But yeah, I think it's mainly the story, the presentation of Santa and taking this kind of approach.
Yeah.
Real winner.
Yeah.
And I like the father-son kind of dynamic that is kind of sort of the backbone of things that are going on throughout. A little bit of humour. I find it to be a really good little Christmas fare that does kind of take that approach to Santa that's very different and brings back the morals into it of the good and bad, but sort of does reinforce what Christmas is about, the relationships with other people and that sort of shit. So absolute winner for me, 4 stars.
From the likes perspective to start off, the whole idea of taking that Santa Claus mythology away from, I think they even say it in the movie, the Coca-Cola Santa isn't real.
Yeah.
And taking it to that mythology of dark and, naughty and nice has connotations and, there is legitimate background to Santa Claus that is not very nice.
Yeah, and it takes it to that, the way that, it fits really nicely in something like the era of Disney movies. Yeah, I'm a fan of Disney movies. I've got kids, so we often watch Disney movies. But it's well known that they kind of polish up scarier elements from old fairy tales and things like that. So it's kind of it fits not nicely in those as a kind of counterpoint to those sort of things.
Yeah,
as a Christmas movie.
That's correct. And the old man that they capture, there's a real creepy look about him. Yeah, the long hair, the scraggly beard. He looks like he's emaciated.
Yep.
There is a real creepy look about him, and then when remember how
he's kind of hunched over too.
Yeah, remember how he's kind of just in there with the adults, and he's kind of like he's not really interacting or anything.
Yeah,
and then when the kid comes in, he comes alive, you know.
Yep.
He looks at the kid, and I thought that stuff was really, really scary.
Yeah, I fucking love the image of where they've chained him up. And he's just fucking hanging back and forth, and then they cut that shot, no one's saying anything, and he's just fucking staring.
Yeah.
He's swinging back and forth and just kind of staring, and it's just like, yeah, it's kind of creepy.
Yeah. Snowy locations and scenery.
Oh, you loved it.
I loved it.
Absolutely
of course.
loved it.
But it feels like Christmas. Like that's what you expect Christmas to be in some of these, in a lot of these movies, is having snow and the snowbound sort of area.
Yeah.
I like the fact that it's taken kind of out into the wilderness.
Well, it kind of does what it does with Santa, right? It takes the shine off it. It's not a suburban area with lights everywhere and
Yeah.
whatever. It's just it's a place where they're obviously not super well off. They're relying on the food coming in at that time of year and whatever. But you still see it. You still see the lights strung up on the place, and as you said, the snow and everything. But it's just peeled back a little bit.
Yeah, agreed. Really well directed.
Yeah,
It's really well directed. As I said, it feels kind of actiony in its beats, but it's well directed. It's well handled. There's a lot of nice shots to see there. It sort of raises it above what you would consider kind of low budget routes, because it seemed like it's a low budget film.
Yeah.
So it gives it a sheen and a look that's a bit more expensive, I guess you would say.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Opening scene sets a sort of intriguing tone. The whole thing about we just drilled into this, there's sawdust in it.
Yeah.
You know.
Straight away, what is it?
Yeah, and then he's like, you've got 24 days to rob a grave.
Yeah.
That's what he says to them.
Yep.
And they give him that block of ice, piece of ice. It sort of has you wondering what's happening.
Yes, like from the get-go, you kind of wonder what's going on, and then straight away when you see the kids are kind of spying on the location, you start to think, oh shit, you know, is this going to be trouble for them, which it starts to sort of turn into.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a good way to set it up and have us kind of on the hook straight away.
I love the shot of the reveal of all the slaughtered elk. Are they elk? Or, can't remember what they are. Or they reindeer?
The reindeer.
Yeah. And they're just, it sort of rises up, the camera rises up behind them.
Yes.
And it's sort of like there's a little hump of snow they're standing on, and it sort of comes up above them. You just see all these reindeer just torn to shreds and in pieces everywhere, and I really like that.
That's one of those kind of gateway elements, right? It's not particularly horrific. You don't see anything happening, but it's kind of eerie, as you said, as they reveal it, and you just see them fucking strewn all over the place.
Yeah.
And
something nasty's gone down, something's happened, and something is out there that's done this. So I just like those little sort of touches that sort of get you there. And as I said, from a directorial standpoint, it's a really nice shot. I like the sequence where they set the trap with the sticks and everything and the bait hanging, and they find that the bait's gone, and that's where they find old mate in there. And that's a cool sequence, you know. They pull back the tree branches and stuff, and there he is, you know. Just for a split second, you see him, and they kind of, and then you see him on the slab, in the slaughterhouse or whatever.
And kind of underrated sort of horror element to it is the fact that they've basically just decided, we've got to fucking cut him up. This is like, oh shit, that's a bit dark. But then that works an absolute winner when he pulls his arm out to start the cutting and he fucking pulls it back.
Yeah, he goes like that, and then
it's like, oh,
shit. The guy puts the knife above his mouth, doesn't he, just to check his breath?
And that's what it does all the way through. As we said, it's not particularly bloody or gory, but it does those dark kind of eerie elements really well. So I thought that whole sequence where it starts to get to the point that they're fucking so desperate and they're just going to cut it up, but then it kind of spins back the other way. I really liked the way that it kind of kicked into gear that he's still alive.
Yeah. I also like the fact that they kind of slowly tease us about all the potato sacks are gone. The potatoes are still there. All the fucking generators have been stolen overnight.
Yep.
Hair dryers are gone. And then we find that the kid has been replaced in his bed by that creepy looking wood, stick man or whatever that they have.
Yeah, that was excellent. Those when he first sees it, when he first finds, what's his name? Pietari, when he first finds the bag
Yeah.
and kind of unveils that thing, and you're like, oh shit! Like in your head, you're like, knowing what he's been reading about, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's what he's going to leave in the bed. So then when they come back to that and he finds that in the bed of his mate who's missing,
Yeah.
just a winner.
Yeah.
Absolute winner. Because, as you said, it does look fucking creepy.
Yes. Very. Very creepy.
Yeah, I think that's...
It continues to
great.
kind of build that unsettling atmosphere.
Yeah,
which the
yeah,
film
it
does
does.
very well.
It does.
It builds an unsettling atmosphere about what, what's going on. What are we seeing here? What's the whole Santa Claus situation?
Yeah.
And who is this old man that we've just
Yes.
come across? What are they doing up on the hill? What are they trying to fucking blow out of there?
We actually passed up a scene that I really love too, which is where the miners are fucking taking off.
Yeah.
The miners are getting out of there. And then you see the guy swears, and then you see all the fucking miners' hats hit the ground
Yeah.
around him, and he kind of looks, and you just see the feet in the foreground.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit! Like that was a absolute winner of just a fucking 5 to 10 seconds of just ramping things up a little bit and kind of making us feel like, okay, well, this old man is
There's more than
he's
just...
trouble when,
Yes.
when he gets there.
Yeah. I appreciated all that. Again, really well shot too.
Yep.
I like the pivot of once we've got this guy and we believe he's Santa Claus, we're going to basically ransom him to the
Yeah,
group up
yeah.
on the hill,
Yeah.
you know.
Because you fucking cost us our money.
Yeah. So now we're going to ransom this guy. We've got Santa Claus,
Yep.
we're going to ransom him back. So the asking price was $1 million or whatever when they get up there.
Was that 85 grand? The other bloke goes, oh, what do you ask for $1 million?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But that also brings up possibly my favourite line of the movie, where they're they meet that guy, and he goes, "Who are you? Where are my men?" And then the only one that can speak English goes, "Yes, we are men. Let's do business." Absolutely love that line. So funny, brilliant. It just kind of, in the midst of this heightening tension, we just get this line that,
Has no real place.
Yeah, as we said, it's one of those bits where the horror and the comedy kind of fit well with each other. You just sneak a line in when we're kind of just tightening up a little bit. It probably shouldn't be as funny as it is, but at the moment it works really well.
The twist that the old man is not Santa is actually not Santa. The old man is an elf.
Yes, I
He's
love
just
that.
a guy that's there. He's there to protect Santa.
Yep.
Santa's that fucking gigantic thing in that warehouse.
Yes.
Which has the 24 written on it, like the
Yep.
the advent calendar. Which I thought was really cool. And I love the fact they never actually show you Santa in full.
No.
You just see those gigantic tusks. And
Yes, and I feel like, look, part of me feels like that's a budget thing, that perhaps they might have wanted to do something with that, but it's another case of that might have worked for you.
Yeah.
Because the way that you worked around it was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
But I thought that twist was, as you said, we kind of go to the adults finally coming along to the thinking that this is Santa, and then, as you said, flipping, we're going to ransom Santa, to that's not Santa. That was just an absolute winner. And then it goes into that scene of
they're looking
all
around
the
and there's
elves.
fucking heaps of them around them.
coming
and
from everywhere.
suddenly old mate's got a fucking pickaxe in his head. and,
Yep.
We start to kick things off there.
Yeah, I love that.
And
Love
it's a
that
really
twist.
nice little twist. And you find out where the kids have been and where the fucking all the generators and hairdryers are at.
Yep.
They're all in there with Santa.
Yep.
I really like the kid stepping up and becoming kind of the hero.
Yeah.
And, his little scheme of running them, getting them to follow the kids on the helicopter and then running them into that electrified pen.
Yeah, that's good.
And I actually thought that, it never quite got to anything. Like, he didn't die, but the fact that he was going to sacrifice himself, and it was everything's in slow motion, and he's looking, and he says something about
I love the part
on the
where he
radio.
says,
Tell Dad what I've
tell my
done.
dad what I did. Because that was one of my big likes, was the father-son relationship, and the dad trying to harden him up in this environment that, obviously that's what you do. But the kid's lost his mother, and the dad's behaviour in regards to that situation, the dad being this harden up and not fucking show your son any emotion or whatever, is actually part of the issue. I kind of liked how, you know, that was the son trying to sort of say, you know, hey, you know, I am brave. I can do this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was like it just worked beautifully to kind of put the meaning of Christmas, I guess, out there. There's a time to fucking get together with your family and appreciate the people in your life and all that sort of stuff. I thought that was a really good element of it.
And I think it was actually quite sort of emotional somewhat.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
It was sort of a gut-wrenching sort of bit when he opens the gate and says, "I'm not coming back."
Yeah.
I thought that was good stuff.
Yeah,
really good
definitely.
Stuff. Blowing Santa to shit.
Yeah.
Was a fucking nice way to end it. And, you know, they're driving out of there with his tusks fucking removed in the back of the truck as they blow it to hell.
Yes.
And again, showing those action sort of beats where the explosion goes off and, you know, it's got 1,000 different cuts and, you know.
Yeah. That little kind of adventure-y sequence at the end there, as you said, with the helicopter and stuff, that was all great stuff.
Yeah. Really, really well played. And my last like is the ending, how kind of they retrain them all.
Yeah.
And then fucking ship them off to countries as like Santas for hire or whatever.
Yeah. Another great line. Remember when they're showing him how to fucking cuddle. They're using the kind of dummies and they're cuddling and they give the presents. You see one of them fucking grab the present. Yeah. The guy walks past and says, "Hey, nothing in there for you, hairy face." Yeah, that was great. I thought that ending was just a cherry on top.
Yeah,
you probably
just a
could have
nice
finished
little
it
way
with that sequence and you would have been happy enough.
Yeah.
But to have them kind of come around to, well, we can still get our money back here, and have that bit of happy ending for them is kind of...
Yeah, I thought it was a really nice way to wrap it all up.
Yeah, it was cool.
Any other likes from you?
Oh, I guess the only other thing I haven't mentioned is I like the way they build it with just the footprints.
Yeah. They're on the roof and then
the footprints on the roof.
You see the footprint underneath the... He looks under where
one of the reindeer and the footprints underneath it. Yeah. So I like the way they built it with just that before you actually got a sight of anything. And I think it was about, you know, it took about half hour to 40 minutes before the first Santa turns up.
Yeah.
And then it kind of goes from there. I just like the way that it built, as you kind of mentioned, it's a slow burn, occasionally possibly too slow, but I like the way that they started with that and then built up from there.
Agreed. Anything else?
No, that was it.
Dislikes aren't a lot of. There's not a lot of these.
Not a heap.
The character development is a little bit thin.
Yeah, somewhat.
The father and son is, I think, pretty effectively done with only a few little sequences. Like, they managed to effectively convey some of those things.
Yeah.
But the other characters you don't know.
No,
you really don't know.
Not really. They just kind of show up to be part of...
His mate, for instance, is just kind of this random kid who seems to pop in and out.
Yeah, he's just the bad kid.
Yeah.
And we only know that because he says, "Don't tell your dad," and then we see him with a fucking cigarette hanging out his mouth. It's like, okay. Yeah, it's fairly thinly painted in that regard. And characters like Pippa and or whatever, like, you don't really know much about him other than he plays Santa and, oh shit, he can fly a helicopter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they kind of... That's sort of... They're there for certain purposes.
Yep.
Which... You know, I'm not hugely down on, but I just felt like it didn't really scratch the surface. And that comes into my second dislike is it's almost too slight.
Yeah.
It could have been 15 minutes longer.
Yeah.
And I don't usually say this, but 15 minutes of extra character stuff wouldn't have hurt.
Yeah, well, I guess my feeling on this, and it's probably in the same realm as your dislike here, is... It's a long time before these blokes are actively working towards the problem.
Yeah.
Like, it's essentially 60 minutes where they're basically telling the kids, oh, fucking shut up, go to bed, whatever.
And it's interesting that I say you could have added 15 minutes of character development, but there is a slowness to what's there in that early going, which would be weird for me to say, well, add 15 minutes and it would have been better paced.
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't have been, but 15 minutes of extra character development would have built those characters better.
But I don't think you're wrong. I think, like...
Maybe you could have paced it better or found a sequence that started the ball rolling a little better.
Yeah. But I feel like the first hour of the movie, all the adults are kind of there to do, other than Pietro, his dad, is sort of to just say, oh yeah, we've got to hunt the reindeer. Oh yeah, there's a couple of weird things happening. And then we get one or two moments. We get like the bit where they're, Pietri and his dad are in their house and he's saying, "Are you making gingerbread?" Or
Yeah.
they kind of mention his mum and he says, "Go to bed" or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that's about it. But the rest of the time, like you said, that they spend the rest of the hour just kind of saying, "Oh, who's this old guy that we've caught?" Not kind of coming around to any of the Santa stuff until right at that kind of hour mark. I wouldn't have minded a little bit
And then
more
kind of
them.
blowing into all the action stuff.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they kind of find it. They
Get
realise
a boozy conversation with the parents or something.
do something.
Yeah.
Like in terms of just trying to kind of bridge the gap. Because
Yeah.
it kind of feels like we know nothing. Oh, it's Santa. Oh, fucking into the let's ransom him.
Yeah,
And then we're off, and everything's happening. So
and it also it impacts the Pietri character as well, because it's like an hour of him just observing from the outside while the adults tell him to get out of it. And we get a kind of a time jump in which time he's doing the research, and we get a little bit of him telling his mate, "This is fucking the real Santa Claus. This is the research that I've been kind of doing."
yeah,
And him being a little bit kind of jumpy. But other than that, he's just observing from the outside, which I guess is part of what is happening. I don't necessarily feel like he needed to be doing anything in particular. Like the disconnect between the adults and the kids
yeah,
definitely should have been there. It was there for a purpose.
yeah,
But I feel like perhaps, like you said, they could have been working on their own shit a little more before that connect happens and they say, right, well, we got to... Because even when they decide to ransom him, Pietri's still in the background until he kind of just says, right, here's my plan.
yeah.
So, there could have been a little more about figuring out and what was going on. I felt like it was he's seeing the footprints, he's kind of asking around what's been happening. But I get what you're saying, and I agree a little bit with the way that it impacted what was going on between the two groups, I guess.
Yeah.
Or even just not even groups, it was basically Pietri and that was it. 'Cause
Yeah,
he was
exactly.
kind of the lone kid at the end of it.
Yeah, so it's weird to sort of say add some time, but then say it's a little bit slow in the early going, but it just feels like not much happens
Yeah,
there.
I get what you're saying, and I agree.
I think my last dislike. There's too many wrinkly old cocks swinging around.
Fucking hell. She was a fucking old sausage fest at the end there.
I was just like, fuck, fellas. I mean,
Yeah.
could we do something about it?
Could Santa not have been running around in fucking tidy whities
Could
or
he?
something?
Yeah, could he have just been in like a fucking
A loincloth.
well,
Just wrap a bow around your cock so you don't fucking swing it around.
a loincloth would have been fine, I reckon. For fuck's sake.
Yeah, especially where when they're running into like the reindeer kind of hold and it's fucking slow-mo. All you see is like, as you said, it's wrinkly old sausage just fucking everywhere.
I mean, fuck, I couldn't find a place to look.
Yeah. Isn't it a kid? This is a film that younger people could access.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that we've got the old swinging dicks.
Yeah. And so there's barely any gore or anything like that. It's pretty straightforward in terms of those things.
Yeah.
But then you've got fucking more cock than a
Yeah.
fucking orgy
I mean,
floating around.
There was more horn on the fucking the Santas than there was on the reindeer.
Shit. Yeah. I could have done without that.
Yeah. I'm sure Santa could have found himself a pair of jocks somewhere along the way.
They should have been wearing like red pants or something, like
Yeah, put them away.
Just
Put 'em
wear
away.
some crackers or something. I don't know. I don't know where they came from.
Yeah, but I'm sure
What was the history?
wherever they came from, it was still considered appropriate to wear underpants.
Oh, surely when Santa's thawed out, he does say, "Put some fucking undies on. Put your cock away."
Yeah. I mean, even if we're suffering the old Fear Street problem where wear attention pants.
Yeah.
It's only a couple of people that you're telling to.
Yeah, that's right. Fucking hell. Oh, man. Yeah, it was difficult. Last couple of scenes were just difficult to handle. But look, that's it for me. What about you?
Yeah, old mate that's running the digging.
Oh, yeah.
He's shade over the top.
Yeah.
Occasionally, just
He
a
reminds
shade.
me of that bloke out of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
I can't remember what his name.
And maybe now
Keeps
that
calling everyone Fraulein.
kind of jiggling when he talks and shit.
Yeah. He gets the fucking Ark of the Covenant thing fucking burned onto his head.
Yeah.
Can't remember what his name is, but his fucking
Perhaps
face
now-
burns off as well.
Yeah. Now that you mention him, perhaps that was intentional because he actually does look a little bit like the way that he dresses and stuff does look a little bit like that character, but I could have done with a little bit less of that.
Yeah, he was a bit over the top.
Where are my men? That's some shit. Yeah, well, fuck, I was creeped out by Santa, but now that you've turned up, Christ.
Yeah, fuck. He just seems like a normal bloke across the
Yeah.
street. You look like a weirdo.
Now that I've seen you, I'll fucking jump straight onto Santa's lap. Oh, hang on, he doesn't have any pants on, so maybe I won't.
Yeah. Yeah, let's keep it fucking kosher.
Yeah, I feel like there was a missed opportunity where they've got to store Santa and he fucking rolls out with no clothes on and everyone's like, oh, shit.
But you know those guys are going haywire once they arrive at their destination.
Yeah, that's right.
They're reverting back to their fucking cockswinging days.
Yeah, there's a police call or something. There's a man standing on my roof. He appears to be naked. Got a shriveled old cock hanging out.
Yeah, I can't pick him out of a lineup other than if you fucking told him to everyone to drop their drawers. I might be able to work out who it was.
Yeah. Oh god! I would have thought in the snow too. They'd have just about been turned inwards, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Fucking hell, I was in the pool, all right. Bloody hell! It was cold. It was cold out there. Yeah. Oh man. Anything else from you?
Yeah, my last one was. Look, are you telling me that Pietri is going up on that chopper? Just fucking dangling on the outside of the net by one hand. He's got his walkie-talkie in the other hand. He's just fucking hanging on by one hand.
Yeah, that was a bit of bullshit.
I'm thinking maybe just I don't know, just jump in the net or something.
No, definitely put your feet and hands around those things.
Yeah, wrap something up there, but he keeps grabbing the walkie-talkie and talking away. I'm like,
Yeah,
you're blowing off that thing.
yeah. That guy's flying around like a. He's fucking. It's in the wind. There's snow everywhere. I mean, it was a blizzard for Christ's sake.
Let's not pretend. By the time you got onto Pippin or whatever, he hadn't fucking worked his way through.
Oh yeah,
half a dozen at least.
He's drunk 3/4 of a bottle of scotch prior to getting in the cockpit.
Yeah, look, that chopper's bouncing around a little bit. One hand is not doing it.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Anything else? No.
No, that was the last for me. Very enjoyable bit of work for me.
I enjoyed it too. So that is Rare Exports. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Podomatic, and anywhere else you get your podcasts. Well, our email address is thrillme@iinet.net.au. Facebook page is Thrill Me Podcast Australia, and Podomatic we're at thrillme.podomatic.com. We're also on Instagram at thrillmepodcastau. Keep an eye on the Facebook page for details of the next film. I believe we're moving towards potentially redoing Lethal Weapon. Is that correct, Jared?
Well,
for Maddie's purposes, considering the bloke seems to want to shun.
He still has not addressed this, and let's be honest, it's one of his KPIs as a member of the Thrill Me team. So at the year-end review, we've seen that he still hasn't ticked that box. We've got to address that before we renew his contract.
As everyone would hopefully know, our listeners, we have done Lethal Weapon before, but we're going to look at it, and we might try and throw in a little discussion topic somewhere along the line just to liven it up, make it a little more interesting, because obviously Jared and I have discussed this previously, but this is for Maddie's purposes, so hopefully
we'll be conducting a performance review on air, asking a few questions.
Considering the bloke fucking just about said, "Who's Denzel Washington?" I think he's got shit to learn.
Yeah. You can bring him up to speed if he's going to continue to
make a mockery of this endeavour.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, I can just feel that he's branching ever so slightly away to a solo Love Island podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Leaving us behind.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I look forward to listening to that. But yeah, he's leaving us behind.
You'll be on it before you know.
Yeah. I'll be on as a backup. All right, but that's it. Until next time, take it easy, and we'll catch up with everyone later. Cheers. Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.